on this computer. And then let me share my screen with you guys. More share screen options. Can you see my screen, guys?
No, I can see you.
That's not good, is it? You want to see my screen, not me? Let's have a look. More, must be that one. Come on. Share. Is that better?
That's it, yeah.
Lovely. Right, let's get going. Week 3, we are getting into the business end, as we say. And, we're going to sort of toughen things up now. A bit of tough love, calling out bullshit, and just making sure we push you on. So let's get straight into it tonight. So we said last week about the importance of environment, and we always say it will always top trump everything. Your willpower will fade like a muscle, it will fatigue, but your environment will outlast it. So you need to do everything you can. Right, pen and paper. First, we're straight into it tonight. So I want you to think about the following here. What parts of your environment hold you back and don't support your outcome or your goal? So I want you to write down what those are. So it could be what's in your cupboard. It could be your family or your partner aren't supportive or keep having a dig at you. It could be disorganized food prep. It could be shopping or lack of it. Could be sleeping in. Could be organization. Could be lots of factors. It could be you don't leave work on time and you need to set a hard limit on I leave by this time. So there could be a number of things at the minute that are around you that you're dealing with on a daily basis that you might not have thought of that are actually holding back your progress. So just have a think and write down. You might have one thing, you might have two, you might have five. Just have a think about that for a second. I'll give you a minute while you come up with at least one thing. Anyone got one they want to shout out already?
One of the distractions I've got at the moment is my partner's pregnant and she is not eating the best foods at all times. So she's getting stuff in that I wouldn't necessarily want to eat. And that's very tempting. I mean, I'm not having it, but it's a temptation that one day I will just snack on something.
Yeah, I mean, environment-wise, unless you can change biology, you've got sort of 9 months of that situation, and
Yeah.
then it'll run its course. And fingers crossed, everything goes to plan, mate. But for now, you've just got to show self-discipline there, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Your environment ain't going to change. She will be pregnant for as long as she is, till she no longer is. And if she's wanting to crave certain foods, that'll be the case. You've just got to be the right. Okay, you enjoy it, my love, and I'm going to pass, and I'll have something else. Anyone else got any environmental things that hold them back?
For me, I'd say it's currently half term, so kids are at home, and trying to make lunch for them. I always find that I'm thinking, oh, this chicken nugget looks nice.
Oh, so you're helping them, are you, Naz?
I'm helping them exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, that I think comes back to food prep, organization, and making sure you have stuff in that you actually like.
Yeah.
Because if your food is something that you don't want, snacking is always going to be more likely. So trying to come up with recipes and meals that you actually enjoy that hit your macros that you're after is kind of fundamental, because I think all of us, if we don't have foods in that we actually enjoy, you kind of think, well, what else is in the cupboard? What else? Is there anything sweet? Is there anything savory? Or, oh, the kids are having that. That looks nice. I'll have one or two of those. Whereas if your lunch is a bit more compelling or a bit more tasty, but still hitting calories and protein, for example, you're less likely to be reaching for the stuff that's not necessarily what's going to get you what you want. So always trying to find foods that you enjoy that will fit into your plan is should be front and center. And when you're shopping on a weekly basis, be it online, in the supermarket, however you do it, always have your cupboards stacked out with whatever you enjoy. Because it's like on an evening, when you're more likely to snack on an evening, what snacks are a better choice than what you normally do? So if it's normally crisps or chocolate, can you find a decent Greek yogurt where you could put a bit of flaxseed, some blueberries in it, even like a little bit of like flavored whey in it, something to boost the protein? Or find another evening snack that you enjoy, because when willpower is low, that's when snacking comes. You know, when you're feeling great, you don't normally snack. It's normally when you're tired or stressed. So this is why I always harp on about what's in your cupboards, what's in your fridge, because it's about making sure that environment, when it comes to food, is always supportive. And kids is a big one, Naz. It's a big one. The amount of times I hear that when I'm cooking the kids' tea, oh, I don't want to cook something else for myself, so I end up eating what the kids eat.
Yeah.
Very common. Very, very common. So if you can like batch cook something on a weekend, you know, and it can be anything that you like that's, you know, high protein with some veggies in or whatever, slow cook it on a Sunday, then at least you've got stuff. While you're cooking the kids' tea, you can shove that quickly in the oven or the microwave and heat it up, and it's super simple and easy. Anything else, any other things that you find environment-wise that are holding you back?
I would say definitely work for me. Because sometimes things have to get done at work, and I find that I end up staying back later than I had planned to. So then it's like, oh, it's 6:30, 7:15. I've still got to get home. I've still got to go to the gym. Still got to get home and eat. So
Yep.
sometimes for me, that really does sort of get in the way.
What about, Andrea? What about, you know, like, I don't know if you're on the call last week, we discussed about paying yourself first.
Yeah.
So we talked about if work gets in the way, because most things get carried away. Work does,
Yeah.
meetings do, things happen, problems crop up that we can't plan. Whereas if you, for example, and again, lifestyle will dictate this, but I always say to people, when work gets in the way, try and do some form of training or walking or something when you get up on a morning.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it before work interrupts the flow of your day. You're sort of saying, I'm not answering an email, I'm not answering a text, I'm not doing anything until I go for a run around the block, I go to the gym, I do an early morning class, whatever it may be. Do something for yourself first before work takes a giant dump on it for you.
Yeah. No, that's true.
You know, and like I said, it might be a couple of laps walking around the block, but at least you think, well, I've got a couple of thousand steps in here before I actually even get to work. And that tends to, for a lot of people, where work does run away with it, which it often does. That tends to be a solution that if you get in the habit of doing something when you wake up, like I said last week, trainers at the side of your bed, have your workout gear ready. As soon as you get out of bed, put it on, run around the block, go to the gym, do whatever, but try and get something in before work gets in the way.
Yeah. No, good shout.
Next one. So this is the thing. So whatever it is you've thought of, whatever it is you've written down, whatever you've got in your mind, what I want you to think of this, because now we're on action time. We're not on promises. We're not on what we're going to do. We're on what we're actually doing. So think about the thing you've said, the thing you've written down, or the thing you've got in your mind. And if you've got more than one, I want you to write an action that you can start doing before Sunday. That's not something you're going to think about, not something you're going to tell your friends, not something you're going to do, something you are actually going to do. So we'll use Andrea, for example, because you just brought it up last. So if your thing is work sometimes runs over, so that spoils me getting to a class, getting to the gym, something like that. So the action could be, as we've just mentioned, I'm going to do something on a morning every morning. And that if that means I get up 20 minutes earlier, well, and I go for a run for 15 minutes around the block, that's what I'm going to do. So think about it now. On Sunday, I'm going to call you out on this one as well. So I'm going to say to you, what one thing have you done differently this week to change one environmental factor that's holding you back? If it is the difficult one, which can be family, partner, or something like that, I come across this all the time where somebody has a sly dig. Oh. If somebody thinks you're leaving them behind, you're getting too hot, too sexy, you're looking too amazing. And this does come up, trust me, and the bigger the gap gets in terms of where you were to where you're going, it comes up more and more and it can become a problem. So sometimes, like the old canoe going down the stream, before it goes over the edge, you're better tackling it further upstream. So if you've got a partner that's digging you out and saying, you don't eat like me anymore. Going to the gym again, are we? If there's comments like that, it's maybe this week is time for a little conversation about, listen, you know how important it is for me to get my confidence back, to get in shape, to achieve what I want. Because I want to wear what I want on holiday. I want to wear that dress that I want to wear at Christmas. You know it's important to me and I need you to support me on this journey. Is that going to be a problem? You know, if it needs to be a difficult conversation, sometimes the earlier you address it, it's not as difficult a conversation. So that could be one action. But as long as you've got one thing written down now and you're going to tackle it, and on Sunday, when I say to you, what one thing have you done? I want you to demonstrate that you've done it. Okay? So don't be that person who goes shy on Sunday and goes silent. I'll know you haven't done it. All right? So that's your first bit of homework. Following on from what I've just said, don't be average. Do what others won't. Don't be full of shit. Because everyone, as we know, are people who say, I'm going to. Now, the only thing that gets you results is action. So what you say you're going to do and what you actually do are two different things. You only get rewarded for what you actually do, not what you say you're going to do. So I want you lot, through this experiment, to get used to looking in a mirror and thinking, did I do the work? Yes or no? Did I do what I say I was going to do? Or did I just carry on being, like most people, full of shit? I'm gonna. And that's why people who do that don't achieve what they want. And that's relationships, it's finances, it's health, it's nutrition. It permeates every aspect of your life. If you are the kind of person who does what they say they're going to do, you'll move mountains in your life and you'll achieve a lot. And that's what I want for every one of you. You know, daily basis, look in the mirror. Have I done the work? Yes or no? Well, why haven't I? And ask yourself the tough question. Tomorrow, you put it right. Yeah? Next one. We're going to look at state now, state control. Now, state is very important because it drives our decisions in the moment. So when you are in the fire, how your state is affects your emotional and your ultimate response to any given stimulus or situation. So we're going to do a little thing here. You're going to like this. So we're going to look at it first before we do it. So what affects your state? First of all, you've got your physiology, your posture. You can all tell when somebody with self-confidence and self-esteem walks in a room because it's how they carry themselves. You can tell somebody as well, without them speaking, who's lacking in confidence, lacking in self-esteem by their physiology, their posture, and what they're saying to themselves in their head. What also affects your state is what you place your attention on. If it's on worry, if it's on fear, if it's on lack, if it's on what you haven't got, what you can't do, it affects your mood and what you give off in terms of energy to yourself and to others. Your sleep, your nutrition, and your hydration affects your state. If you are tired, if you are underhydrated and your nutrition is poor, you ain't going to be giving off that energy, that vitality, that confidence. And also your perception of what always happens and what's going to happen. If you, like we've talked about beliefs, your beliefs are, oh, this always happens to me. People like me don't do that. We don't do X or Y. So your perceptions also affect your state and how you show up to yourself and to the world. So, next question. I want you to all stand up. Every one of you, stand up. Even if I can't see you and you're hiding, stand up. All right? I want you to look up now. So as you stand up, I want you to look up towards the ceiling. I want you then to smile ear to ear. So looking up, smiling ear to ear. And I want you to do your absolute best while you're smiling ear to ear, while you stood up, while you're looking up, to feel sad. So look up, smile, and I want you to feel sad. Beaming smile, looking up, and I want you to feel sad. All right, all sit down. And I think what most of you might have found doing that exercise is you struggle to feel sad when you're in an open chest posture, looking up and smiling. Because your physiology affects how you think and what you can access in your mind, the feelings you can access. Okay, so that's one version. Next one, sit down, slump your shoulders forward, look down. So head down, looking at the floor, shoulders forward, slump forward. And as you're feeling slumped, head down like that, I want you to feel ecstatic, feel really happy. Slump forward, looking down, feel really, like super excited. I mean, come on, ramp it up, slump that head down, shoulders forward. And I think you'll find that it's pretty hard to feel ecstatic and joyful and happy when you're slumped and your head's down. And if you think about how you live your life, there's a lot of time your physiology doesn't support you being happy. And if you're sad, you're more likely to make bad decisions. What's the point? I'll eat it anyway. I'll have the bag of chocolates. I'll have the biscuits. Because when you're sad, you tend to make bad decisions. All right? So there's I could go further, but there's two very simple ways there of showing chest open versus rounded shoulders, head down versus head up. If you walk in a room, you puff your chest out, you have your head up and you smile, people feed off that energy because you give that off. If you've got your head down and your shoulders slump when you walk in a room, people automatically make an assumption about you because it's the signals you're giving off. But your state, which I'm going to go into, affects more than just how people respond to you. And another thing you need to remember is the challenge-free life doesn't exist. And this is why your state, your environment, your beliefs, which we're starting to build up now, all matter and they gel together. Because challenges are going to come daily, they're going to come weekly, they're going to come annually, and sometimes they will come in threes, and they will come at you from all sides. So your ability to have control over your state, the questions you ask, your beliefs, and all these things that are within your control are crucial when things beyond your control come at you. So it's like walking into the rain. If you walk into a storm, realistically, you want to have your raincoat on, you want to have some decent footwear on, and probably some waterproof trousers. And this is what state control, your beliefs, the questions you ask yourself are all about. You're walking into the storm with the right environment protecting you. So it just runs off you like water off a duck's back. Or you walk into the storm and you're not prepared and it ruins your day. And this is what we're trying to build up here, your resilience, your ability to deal with problems so you can stick to your training, you can stick to your sleep, you can stick to your diet when other things happen, because you've got this impervious nature that you can deal with things and stay on track. So like I just said there, the good news is you get to choose how you react, how you think, and ultimately via your state control, your beliefs, your fitness and everything else, how you feel. And you're choosing it moment to moment by all the things we've gone through so far to week 3. Beliefs, questions, environment, state control, all affect this. And they're all under your control, no one else's. And they all affect how you show up in every single moment. Talked a little bit as well about questions so far in the last couple of weeks. And using the right questions in the moment as it directs your attention. So as I've previously alluded to on this, if you can ask a better quality of question, you steer your mind to look for a better quality of answer, which will get you a better outcome. If you are having a bad day and you ask the question, why does this always happen to me? And then from that, look at reasons to why does it always happen to you? And then you start saying to yourself things like, well, what's the point anyway? Which usually is a downstream question to why does this always happen to me? You then start going into a downward spiral where often it's like, well, what's the point? So therefore, what's the point going to the gym? What's the point walking? What's the point going to bed on time? What's the point in hydrating? What is the point in sticking to my diet? I will self-soothe with TV, with food, whatever else it may be. So one question that's a poor quality question starts a cascade of other poor questions, which leads you down a rabbit hole to behaviours that you're trying to leave behind. If, when things are going to hell in a handbag, you ask a different question, like, what am I destined to learn from this? What could I get from this? How can I show these fuckers who I am? How do I now show up and show these people what I'm about? How can I learn from this moment? What could I have done today so I wasn't in this position and I can learn from it? What notes can I write tonight so I never end up in this position again, never having to ask this question again? These are all the kinds of questions you can ask in the moment when you're in the fire. But again, if your state is right and you're feeling positive about yourself and your life, you are more likely to ask a better question than if you are head down, oh God, low energy, low mood. Everything we can do to get ourselves active, moving, upright, chest up, that helps you ask a better question. All these things are all interlinked, guys. None of this works in isolation. It's like just training without good nutrition. It's like not sleeping well and trying to train maximally. Everything is interrelated, and all the mindset stuff we're doing now all comes together like a jigsaw. Environment, the friends you keep, the beliefs you have about yourself and your life and your future, the questions you ask yourself moment to moment, your state control, how you show up, what's your body language like, how do you talk to yourself? If the little voice in your head is always doubting versus you taking control and steering the ship and asking a better question, all those things will lead you to a very different outcome from going down one road to going down another. All right, so I hope that makes sense, that bit there. So questions, I just gave a couple there. What is the best option for me right now? That can be one question you can ask. So if you're in Greggs, you haven't food prepped, you're at a petrol station, you are absolutely starving. What is the best option for me right now? Because it might be a protein bar, an apple, protein shake in Greggs, in the petrol station. What can I do if X is off the table? So if you're going out for a meal and you've planned to have a certain meal at a certain restaurant, rather than going, never mind, I'll just have the puddings, the desserts, I'll have a starter that I didn't really want, and I'll have the XL pizza with all the toppings. What can I do if X is off the table? So if I can't have that dish, what is the next best choice I'll enjoy? Yeah, what can I do if X is off the table? And another thing I do a lot in coaching with people, what would ... do right now? So that can be two things. It can be your future self. So if your future self, who is the person you want to be, if you've got a vision of who they are and what they do and how they live and how they look and what they earn, how they dress, how they stand, if you've got that image in your mind of that's what I'm going to be and that's who I'm becoming, what would they do right now? That person in the body you want, that person wearing the clothes you want, driving the car you want, whatever it may be, however detailed that image of your future self is, what would they do right now? Because that person who's walking around in the physique you want, would they make the bad decision, or have they got that by making the right decision? Or another option you've got in this is if you've got a role model, somebody who you aspire to be. It could be The Rock. It could be Jennifer Lopez if you're a woman, or a bloke. I don't judge. You know, what would they do? Would they be in this right now? So if you've got somebody who you think, I admire them, they're a role model, they're somebody who I'd love to be, look like, act like, carry myself like, what would they do in this moment right now? And they're quite powerful questions to ask yourself sometimes. If you're having a wobble, or if you're going to make a decision where you think, oh, I'm a bit of a crossroads here, should I skip the gym? Well, what would The Rock do? Would The Rock skip the gym? No, he'd get up earlier. If he were traveling, he'd find a gym. If he had to pull his car over and probably do some burpees at the side of the road, would he do it? Probably. Because it's all about your priorities and who you want to become. Or do you want to stay the same? And these are the tough questions. This is why I said tonight was going to be a bit more, I want you to ask yourself tough questions. You know, what would my future self do? Or what would my role model do? Or do I keep doing what I've always done and getting what I've always got? That's the other option. And it's always there. We can always carry on doing what we've always done and get what we've always got. But if you want a different outcome, you've got to do something different. And you've got to do it consistently. And like I said, consistency comes by controlling your state, controlling your beliefs, and asking yourself these kinds of questions in the moment. You know, what can I do if X is off the table? What's the best option for me right now? What can I learn from this? Or the one I love, which is why I've harped on about it, what would ... do right now? And if you haven't got that future image of yourself, you need to work on it. And you couldn't fail. How would I look? What would I do? How would I live? What would I drive? How would I dress? What would I eat? What would my day look like? And start cultivating that future day by day in your decisions, what you do, how you act, the decisions you make, moment to moment, which is what this is about. This is all about making the right decisions. If I'm going to skip the gym and be a lazy sod, what question do I ask myself that's going to light a fire in my arse and get me to that gym? What's going to make me prep my food on a Sunday? Rather than thinking, I'll watch TV and I'll do it tomorrow. Would my future self do that if I'm going to look like I want to look? They would do it. So why am I not doing it? So you've got to get that leverage on yourself in these moments. Because like I said, in these moments is when we often resort back to old patterns of behavior. So being tough on yourself is needed, because we all need to be tough on ourselves, in not all the time, but when you are going to make a decision that doesn't support you, you need to be tough. Look in a mirror and ask yourself a tough question, get it done, and get it done right, and make the right decisions for you and your future self. If I was making a decision to be the best version of me, what would it be? That's one of my favorite questions. And it's something that you can have on a whiteboard. It's something you can have on a post-it note all around you at all times. If I was making a decision to be the best version of me, whatever that is for you, and that's a deeply personal thing for you, not for me to tell you, it's for you to think about it. That if I was going to be the best version of me, what would I do? Think on that. And it comes down quite simply to this. If you ask poor questions of yourself, you get poor outcomes. If you ask yourself good, tough questions that make you answer in a very different way, you get good outcomes. So like I've said, if I'm trying to be the best version of me, what would I do? What would ... do? My role model, my future self. Ask good questions, get good outcomes, and you end up living a pretty fucking happy life. But it all starts with being able to ask yourself these questions, because what will happen is most people don't want to ask themselves a tough question. They want the path of least resistance and they want the easy life. Now, if you always take the easy option, well, I think we all know how that ends. You live a life unfulfilled, nowhere near your potential. And my thoughts on this have never changed, is that all I think all of us can ever want to do with our lives and the time we have on this earth is to realize our potential and look in the mirror when the time comes and think, yes, I didn't take the easy road. I asked the tough questions. I did the work and I realized my potential, whatever that may be. And for all of us, that may be different, but you want to be able to look yourself in the mirror, feel pride and think, yes, I maximized what was given to me and I didn't take the easy road. I asked tough questions. I did the work and I self-actualized and I actually made myself into the best version of myself within all the powers I have. And that is what I want you to think about this week. I want you to leave your excuses behind this week. I want your Sunday charts to reflect that. I want you to be ticking boxes this week. I want you to ask yourself some tough questions. And where previously you haven't ticked things and there's been crosses, I want you tonight to write down, like I said at the start, something that's going to tackle any environmental issue you have holding you back. I want you to think about your physiology, think about your state. What are you putting out to yourself and to the world? And then I want you to think about better questions this week. In the mirror, look yourself in the eye and ask yourself tough questions. So you can, when you reflect every week on your week and what you did and what you didn't do, did I ask the right questions? Did I do my best? Did I shirk the tough things? Did I shirk the tough questions? Or did I ask them and did I pull on my big boy pants or my big girl pants, and did I do the work? And that's what I'm going to leave you with this week, guys. Short and sweet this week, but that's what it needs to be. Go away tonight, ask yourself tough questions, and do the work. Get it done. I don't want to see loads of crosses in boxes on Sunday. Yeah? And I'm going to ask you on Sunday what one thing you've done to tackle your environment that were holding you back. So I'm giving you a week's warning before I start dropping bombs on Sunday. Because I'm going to squeeze you all every week to make you better. Make sure you realize your potential and what you can actually achieve. Not just in this 6 weeks, but beyond that. All I'm doing, hopefully, for you guys is, yes, helping you progress, but planting seeds that are going to germinate long beyond 6 weeks. Because I want to see where you are in 6 months and in a year. And see if you've kept asking yourself tough questions, kept doing the work, and left excuses behind, and start controlling your mind, controlling your environment, controlling the questions you ask yourself, and making sure off the back end of that, you do the work and you don't take the easy road. Right, now go and get after it. Have a great week, all of you. Enjoy. Get after it. See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
See you guys.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.